welcome everyone. I'm going to start off with talking about the state of the industry and do a quick run through of that. Get my screens to come up. So as we do each month, we talk about the state of the industry, give a quick view of the virus, what's going on there, and a little bit about the latest news, crystal ball, and a lot going on, and honestly, really a great guest. So I'm going to try to get through some of this stuff quickly and allow you to ask me questions about what's going on, next steps, why is this important, what the heck are you smoking, anything along those lines, and we'll move forward from there. So on the state of the industry, August continued what we saw in July. We are still down about 30% of our workers, about 112,000 for the year, which is about 112,000. So the industry is still struggling to recover. Not a surprise to most of you, and something we're really trying to get through. For those who are watching the podcast for the first time, I will say what I've said several times over. This is the worst economic crisis that has hit our industry in a lifetime. And any of the recessions can't compare to this. From our high to our low, we lost about 190,000 jobs. In the height of the low of the Great Recession just a decade ago, we lost 15,000 jobs. It gives you a sense of just how impactful this has been. One of the things that is starting to emerge is this recovery is starting to be regional. Seattle and Skagit are still down 40%, but other areas of the state are only down 25 or less. So we're starting to see a separation, or at least we did in August and July, of recovery is coming along in some areas and really not much at all in others. On the virus update, when we last met in August, I was hopeful. We saw almost a 7 to 8 week decline in the virus, and had that trend line continued, we were going to get back to 25 by the end of September. And we were aware of the risk, but there was also a moment of hope. Unfortunately, around mid-September, the numbers started going the other way. And we have gone from about 60 cases per 100,000 all the way up to near 100 again. And so that is bad news. It's impacted our negotiations to make change and raise concerns about how strongly we have the virus under control. This has been the main metric of the governor's office, which is why we use it and we talk about it and we look at this one regularly. But I'll be very direct. Since our last call, we've started a task force called Target Zero with the Liquor Control Board, the State Health Department, and local health departments in the governor's office, analyzing data. So in future podcasts, we might bring more data in that might be more illustrative of what we need to do as an industry to get back to whatever a new normal will be. Until then, what we have discovered in the last 5-6 weeks of work of the Target Zero Task Force is when we see an outbreak in our industry, it's usually due to non-compliance. We're not seeing haven't found an outbreak in our industry where there's been compliance. So that's good news. We know the rules work. For the 95% of people who are following the rules, you might have an employee get out and get sick, but you're not seeing anything in your building that should concern you if you're following the rules. However, for those who are in the non-compliance, we are seeing when employee mask wearing is not going on, when mask guidance isn't going on, and of the other rules, not mingling. When you're allowing karaoke night, when you're allowing people to wander around your bar or interact like they did in December of last year, that's where we're seeing the outbreaks. So more work to be done, but in the next month, I'm telling you, the best thing you can do is focus on those two areas. Let's get masks worn, let's make them culture, let's get over it. And two, let's eliminate the no mingling. I want to talk about some of the rule changes. So today is October 7th. I don't know when everyone will watch or rewatch this this podcast, but yesterday, October 6th, the governor announced several rules changes. And so if you've been working with us, you know we were trying to make 5 rule changes as soon as we could. One of them was eliminate the single household rule. And the governor did announce the elimination of the single household rule. We were pushing for a later last call time, which the governor moved it to 11. And 11 is a good step. But I will be honest with you, and this is why it comes back to compliance. I think we could have gotten later had there been stronger compliance within the industry. So you can help me move this again in the future by helping if you're a vendor, getting all your customers to understand how important compliance is. If you've got a bar somewhere across the street who you see it going on and they want a midnight closing time, help us get there by having compliance around masks and having compliance around mingling. We wanted to change the 6-foot rule to be more flexible, which we feel like we've gotten to. We wanted to increase table size to allow groups of parties of 6 or 8 to be able to sit down, and which we've also been able to do. So if you're a phase 2 county, you can now have a table of 6. If you're a phase 3 county, you can now have a table of 8. I have talked to a couple people who have said, well, okay, you got me 1 more chair. No, we got you 6 more chairs, because the reality is what we learned is families of 6 have been staying home. Families of 6 have given up on the industry because they don't want to separate their kids from where they sit down. They don't want that split. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to bring those families back in and helping move forward. The area that we still need to work on, and we're going to continue to work on, is increased dining capacity past 50%. Love to get to 75%. Unfortunately, we're not able to do this in this round. The spike in the virus hurt this part of the negotiation, as did our non-compliance. And so those are 2 areas that, as we've set ourselves up for the next round of changes and turning the dial again, we need to see the virus come back down. And we would love to keep working to increase that, narrow that 5% that's not complying to get that to 2 or 1 or be as good as we possibly can. On the lodging side of the industry, last week, the end of September, we were able to get many of the meeting rules changed. And yesterday, October 6th, we were able to get wedding venues changed. Meetings and events is going to be one of those rolling things that the dial will turn, the dial will turn, the dial will turn slowly over the upcoming year. But we think we were able to take good first steps in that area. We were able to fix the pool rule for those places that wanted to use their pools. The phase 3 rules that would allow more liberal use of pools is now available to everyone in phase 2. And that change was made. We're still working on the fix to the workout facility guideline. Honestly, of all the things on here, I think that's the one we're furthest away from finding the right negotiation tactic to crack this nut, but we're going to continue to work on it. Chad, you've actually kind of reached out from your experience in lodging and helping us deal with property tax issues. So we're not there yet on a solution, but we are working on it. And it is a conversation we're having every week. And we've made a lot of improvements to the eviction rule, but we would like to get this one finished off and be able to take it off our list because we've got it done. So haven't quite been able to do that. I would encourage everyone to work. We are partnering with all your local DMOs on a public campaign to talk about how hospitality is safe. Please do that. We are hopeful to roll out a new enforcement campaign later this month with a lot of cooperation between the industry, local health departments, and Liquor Control Board, and using the mass force of local health departments and the enforcement power of Liquor Control Board to really crack down and get us better compliance around mask wearing and mingling. And let's all encourage everyone to make good decisions. And let's have the public view us as not the problem, but one of the people in our community that's really pushing for solutions. And that's kind of the immediate. Maybe in the next podcast, we'll talk about the legislative, which will be that road to the right, because we're also working on the relief efforts we need as well. Lisa, has there been any questions in the chat room on anything that I presented?
Not yet.
Okay. Chad, anything that you saw me present that you think the average operator probably would have a question on?
No, I mean, I know there's some stuff coming up on tenting and 6-foot rule, but that will probably explain a little bit later.
Okay, yeah, I think we're continuing to work on tenting. We're hoping we'd love to be optimists and said that's going to be a shorter term thing that will allow tents to be more viable as we approach winter. So that's something we will continue to work on.
Great.
All
yeah,
right.
no, good progress.